by Philippine Sovereign Thinkers. This is LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mango South Florida, and today's date, Monday, September 10th, 2018. So, let us begin. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Just kicking back right now. Looks like it's cloudy, sunny. However, it hasn't rained. Rained a lot yesterday, but that's just how it goes. Part of, September, peak of the hurricane season, and hopefully all the folks out there are paying attention in the Atlantic, even in the Pacific as well, in Hawaii. So I noticed Florence is picking up steam, so it's like major hurricane. I get a category 4, if I'm correct. So hopefully folks out there be ready, be vigilant, and work together after it went through. So that is very essential. I can tell you that. But because I know it's supposed to be flooding and all that in the Appalachian Mountains area too. We'll just wait and see. Like I said, prep up, hope for the best, and prepare for the worst. So I'm going to be discussing a couple more things about September 11th. I don't want to harsh it or harp it. And because there are enough people out there know, I always speak about it a good period of time. And not try to beat a dead horse as well, because it's still essential. And people want to know the truth. And they're not really getting it. They're trying to use the same old fictitious narrative. And more people now are questioning and taking the time to learn, which is good. That's why a person like myself want to keep this going, because look what happened since then, right? Did enough time. So I like right here. I'm going to do a couple of them on that, and got a couple of things not related to it as well. So it says here from personalliberty.com, written by Bob Livingston, another 9/11 anniversary comes, and we're still at war. 17 years ago tomorrow will mark the anniversary of the bomb being dropped on the American psyche. The 9/11 attack on America was a prelude for a perpetual U.S. war in the Middle East and Africa. The U.S. has been responding with bombs of its own ever since. A series of wars, not related to 9/11, but launched under the guise of the War on Terror and using the imprimatur of the 2001 authorization to use force agreement, were launched and continue to this day upon the Middle East, Persian, and North African nations and people. As a result, the entire region is destabilized. Millions of innocent people have been killed, injured, and displaced, and untold trillions of dollars of infrastructure, buildings, and homes have been destroyed. The people have been left homeless, destitute, starving, and diseased. The U.S. has bombed wedding parties and birthdays in Pakistan and U.S. citizens in Yemen. In order to save citizens in Libya, it bombed them. It helped assassinate Muammar Gaddafi. We came, we saw, he died. Clinton yucked when she learned of Gaddafi's death. It's bombed people in Mali, Somalia, and Algeria. According to the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, the U.S. drone campaign has killed thousands of innocent civilians, including hundreds of children. Tens of thousands more died in Libya from NATO. Read U.S. bombs. The result of that exercise in soft power was a power vacuum in a once peaceful country that resulted in death of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Libyans, and hundreds of thousands more impoverished and caught in the crossfire of a sun-dry of militant groups vying for power and a UN-installed government in charge of parts of the country. It's also enabled a gun-running operation through the Libyan consulate that got Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 others killed. Is anyone surprised that there are people in the world who bitterly hate the United States and its rulers? The U.S. spawned ISIS in 2006 with an assist from Saudi Arabia and nurtured, aided, and abetted the terrorist organizations, campaigned against Syria with the help of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Israel. For a time, we were told ISIS even posed an existential threat to America, the greatest threat since Nazi Germany, they said. The U.S. continues to fund and protect al-Qaeda-linked anti-Syrian forces, and President Donald Trump has warned Syria and its ally Russia not to eradicate the U.S.-backed rebels in Idlib, threatening a confrontation U.S. warmongers of late, and apparently able to discern future events, predict a Syrian chemical weapons attack on the rebels, which serves to provide cover for another false flag chemical release by the rebels on Syrians in Idlib. Syria is just another stepping stone to war in Iran, which could culminate the globalist plan to destabilize and conquer the Middle East as outlined in the Council of Foreign Relations Playbook, the Project for the New American Century, and the Brookings Institute's Which Path to Persia. Folks, if I'm correct, there are links here to it. Check it out. It is amazing. And disturbing at the same time. Amazingly disturbing. That's the phrase. The U.S. is also expanding its war in Africa, backing Saudi Arabia and providing them with refueling and logistical support for its war on Yemen. Foreign Policy and Mouthpiece publication of the establishment notes America is building a $110 million drone base in Niger to patrol the skies and target militants and smugglers traveling between Niger, Libya, Algeria, Mali, and Chad. The base will soon house some 650 members of the U.S. military. It's very difficult to get any truth in America from the politicians or the controlled media, and certainly the official story of the 9/11 attack is a conspiracy theory. It is risky to believe anything official. The art of war is that all warfare is based on deception, and that rulers must cultivate the appearance of moral rightness in order to rally the people and persuade them to fight. It works. That's right. The official story is a lie. Not even the 9/11 Commission believes it got to the bottom of what happened that day because of massive cover-up by agencies and actors within the U.S. government. Dozens of questions surrounding the official narrative remained unanswered, and the establishment and those trapped in conventional wisdom or suffering from normalcy bias relegate the questions to fringe nuttery and dismiss them. Not one even bothers to ponder what happened to World Trade Center 7, the first skyscraper in history to collapse as a result of the fire. Official story. The cover-up of Saudi Arabia's involvement continues apace. In the short, the 9/11 event only served its interest of the U.S. establishment. Much private freedom has been lost in the interest of security, not to mention the killing and maiming, both physically and mentally, of thousands of U.S. service members, plus trillions upon trillions of dollars stolen from the American people through money printing and to support the military-industrial machine. The so-called war on terror was supposed to make us safe from terror attacks, but despite the years of war, we are told that terror threat is now as great as ever and false flag terror attacks. The FBI surprisingly involved every time in either facilitating them or in tracking the culprits, only to lose them at the last minute, are occurring with greater frequency. Now, in terms of psychological warfare against the people by our own government, attacks on the U.S. only serve to build the power and despotism of the establishment. All modern wars are banksters' wars, and the banksters and corporatists make out like bandits while the people are killed, maimed, impoverished, and enslaved. The war on terror is a fraud orchestrated by the elites and designed to create the New World Order. That's the truth. But the American people, for the most part, don't believe it and will not even consider it. I agree with Mr. Livingston 100% and beyond. I've been addressing this. That was a New World Order agenda on September 14, 2001, and not here to toot my horn. always agreed the war on terror is a conflagration with ourselves, with the American people, and worldwide. One deplorable concept. Give up your freedom for security will protect you. It's the ultimate wet dream. And I'm not saying that people in these agencies or institutions are all rogue. Only a handful could make that happen. Higher ranks, the prestige positions will try to supersede rank and file. Yes, all these wars are bankster wars. It's time for everyone to wake the hell up. Even people in my own community still get defensive about we got to protect this country and that one. Piss on your empire, as far as I'm concerned. You want to be real tough, you go on the front line. Now, including the politicians, Palmolivis in there in Washington, D.C., act so pretentiously macho. I don't have to say any names. I just call them out. I even contacted them myself, and I gave my name and my number. I want your reply. They never call back. I wonder why. They can't call me the clown. I'm not some prestigious frat boy, glam boy that climax in their bathhouses. This is what the order wants. The one world government. Become numbers to them. I say I defecated on it. On their platform. And everyone else out there can do the same, regardless where you're at. This is why we need to fight, protect, defend our country. Counter the war on terror by defending our U.S. Bill of Rights culture. Period. No ends, ifs, or buts. If you still believe they attacked us because we live in a free society, go by the mirror and punch yourself in the mouth. Because you don't know what the hell you're thinking. That's all I have to say on that. And I will continue on here pertaining to September 11th. Came out today as well from Activist Post. 9/11 Revisited, live mainstream coverage conflicts with official story. From Truth Stream Media, which is a good site. As the anniversary is shortly upon us, we decided to revisit footage captured from local local media, broadcast in the morning of September 11, 2001. On September 11th, the nation watched in horror live at second plane assignment to the World Trade Center. Then later, both towers collapsed into their own footprints live. Essentially, the nation's viewing audience watched thousands of people die on live TV. As audiences are captivated by the nightmarish scenes of death and destruction, replayed over and over and over again on 24/7 news channels, are they too traumatized in that instant to question anything they are being told with a critical eye? Are the viewers simply terrified into rarely believing everything that they see on TV? This footage comes from a VCR recording tape on the morning of September 11th by Popeye at FederalJack.com. Hello, my brother Popeye. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And hopefully one day we will see each other again. Have some fun. Talk about the good old days. Reviewing is now later leaves us with fresh questions and definitely many more questions than it answers. If you can see the full video on here, the link's on there as well. Our videos only analyze what was reported until 11:30 a.m. that day, and thus not even include the fact that the BBC reported the WTC Building 7 collapsed 20 minutes early while the reporter is clearly standing in front of a live view of Building 7 still standing. And you can see the original one there as well. The reporting of this event, as seen above, certainly mirrors that viewers' sentiment. Traumatic doesn't even begin to cover it. and much more is being reported than just the attacks at the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and the crash at Shanksville, Pennsylvania that comprise the official report. After Space Shuttle Challenger blew up live on television, killing all 7 people aboard, Joyce Nelson wrote, on Tuesday, January 28, 1986, the 2-minute TV clip dominated the airwaves of North America. Although the only network covering the Challenger launch live was Ted Turner's Atlanta-based cable news network CNN, within 6 minutes of disaster, CBS, ABC, and NBC, followed by CTC and CBC, broke into their regular program and stayed with live coverage for 5 hours straight, playing and replaying again and again and again this eerie 2-minute video clip. Time magazine called it a nightmarish image destined to linger in the nation's shared consciousness. Senior writer Lance Morrow stated over and over the bright extinction played on the television screen, almost ghoulishly repeated until it had sunk into collective memory. And there will abide, abetted the weird metaphysics of videotape, which permits at the endless repetition of a brute finality. And Aaron and Melissa Dykes does TruthStreamMedia.com. And I seen the video. It's very interesting, like about bombings at the park and by the State Department. And there's a fire at the mall, and there's a crash at near Camp David. It never happened. So you watch the video, it's like 9 minutes long, and I can watch the whole thing in full. But it's like saying the whole thing is, you can always try to get you to live in fear, that mind control aspect. This is why you have to look at things a lot deeper. All right, because even people with these shootings, when it comes to children, they get the knee-jerk reaction and go, ah! And don't get me wrong. But they just jump that gun. We've all been there. I admit it myself a long time ago. But now you got to see things a lot more deeper and thorough. See, how far does this get in? How deep is the rabbit hole go? The cave, etc. This is why you gotta be vigilant all the time. Do not belly up. The road to tyranny on September 11th. Of course, it's September 11th. And we should all bend over. No way, no how. Remain vigilant. Do not live in fear. Do not say this day and age, belling it up to the government is patriotic, because it's absolutely not. Enough of that for now. And I got this from one of my colleagues, Florida Tenther. I think it's Andrew Nappy, I think his name is. Hopefully I got it pronounced, or Nappy. Hopefully I pronounced his name correct, but he's very cool because he put some little good stuff on his post. Came from Florida Politics. Coalition aims to ban assault weapons by constitutional amendment. This is by Ryan Nicol. 2 organizations created in the aftermath at the February shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School have joined together in an effort to ban assault weapons in the state of Florida. Americans for Gun Safety Now and Ban Assault Weapons Now say they have combined forces to create a bipartisan coalition to ban those weapons with the goal of being passage in an amendment in 2020. Yes, all hail to abstractive rhetoric or abstractions, but hypocrisy to the core. So BON, which is Ban Assault Weapons Now, already announced a push for an amendment earlier this year. Now AFGSN says it will join those forces by spending its resources educating Florida residents and opinion leaders on this critical issue, according to a release obtained by Florida Politics. And this is what I have to say. Our collaboration with BON is a natural progression for AFGSN, said Al Hoffman, founder of that same organization, AFGSN. We are still dedicated to passing 6 common sense gun reform principles our organization was founded on. But by working alongside BON, we have an opportunity to make our own state safer first. This is a critical step to protecting future generation of Floridians. You see what's happening here? They're against the militias, and they hate your basic rights. In other words, they're anti-basic rights, Article 1, Section 2 of the Florida Constitution, and Article 10, Section 2 of the same document. Bond is a political committee primarily comprised of several family members of mass shootings, victims at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and Pulse nightclub. Both occurred in firearm-free zones. And plus the police and the deputies aren't obligated to protect the people, the individuals, including the school resource officers. Florida Statute 768.28, Sovereign Immunity and Tort Liability Act. The group is still working on potential language for that 2020 amendment to define exactly what constitutes an assault weapon, as if yet that definition remains unclear, because they want to give you a penile microphone treatment. But Bond Chairman Gail Schwartz says a partnership with AFGSN will help the organization to achieve its goal of making the assault weapons ban a reality. Yes, they want you to be their peasants, their slaves, their Uncle Toms and Aunt Jemimas to the states. The Bond and AFGSN partnership is a powerful step toward improving safety in our schools and our community, said Schwartz, who lost her nephew, Alex Shatter, in the Parkland shooting. And I will send my condolences to Gail on this event. And it still disturbs me, because it wasn't the free society that got into this mess. Our goal is to take military-style firearms off the shelves and thus saving the lives of innocent people. The group says they intend to appeal lawmakers of both parties in an effort to pass future legislation where necessary. Gun control advocates did achieve a victory following the Parkland massacre with the passage of a bipartisan law which raised the minimum age to a purchase firearm to 21, among other restrictions, which I will say this, it is unconstitutional. It has to be voted by the people. So don't you give me that pretentious rhetoric. It's a post de facto law. Any questions? Look at Article 1, Section 10 of the Florida Constitution. That's the truth, my friends. These people need to look at the bigger picture. How come you got a bunch of stagnant fools that were cowards, that were a bunch of cowards, all right, didn't go in and took out the assailant? How come these same individuals don't go after Scott Israel? Because they're cowards. They're witch-hunting fools. They're the same people that will blame the Jews for the economy, right-wing fanatics going after Muslims for the 9/11 attacks, and blaming the American Civil Liberties Union for protecting Richard Spencer's free speech at Charlottesville, Virginia. They're in the same category. No ends, ifs, or buts, but the confounded truth. I call this treason. And I'm not afraid to say it to them directly. Because you know why? The truth does hurt. There are laws in the books that the shooters took advantage of. Firearm-free zones. There are multiple laws in, like for Parkland, for an example, 5, 6 laws. Federal, state, don't matter. And local didn't prevent that from happening. But that's okay. We'll punish you, the people that own it. And this is what it says. You know what the ban is? A victimless crime law. Victimless crime referendum. So who's benefiting from this? Okay? They want to put our tax dollars at work for throwing more people in jail, for possessing marijuana and for possessing certain drugs, not intent to sale. Same category. Hypocrisy at its finest, my friends. It's not here to play Rambo, Roy Rogers or any of these Hollywood superheroes, warriors, anything like that. Because there are many articles that people use AR-15s and AK-47s that protect their families and their property when they went inside. And you know what? Justifiable use of force. You're going to get rid of that? Yeah, you're a bunch of damn fools. We do have a right of privacy as well under Article 1, Section 23 of our state constitution. If any of you folks in Florida recall the constitutional amendment that about abortion, and it was going to compromise the right to privacy, it got shot down. And if you eject that, you got to treat this amendment the same way. No exceptions. That's how I look at it. And prove me wrong if you dare. I would love to hear defense mechanized rhetoric. All right. We got one more here, which is some real cool news. I like it. I came out yesterday, and I know I post some stuff pertaining to certain towns. And this came here from Derek Bros. City kicked out their cops and politicians 7 years ago. Now they have the lowest crime rates in Mexico. A town in Mexico recently celebrated 7 years since kicking out the corrupt narco government and reverting back into the indigenous form of self-governance. In the town of Sheridan in Mexico in Mexico, a system of traditional indigenous law enforcement and accountability continues to guide the people. In early 2011, the residents of Sharon created an armed militia to fight off illegal logging and drug cartels in their community. The community kicked out politicians and people accused of ties to the drug cartels and began a new system of governance based on perpetual traditions. On April 15th this year, Sharon celebrated 7 years since the revolt against what they call the narco government. The people marked the 7th anniversary of self-government by naming the Third Council of Elders. There's a video on that, too. You can check it out yourself. And I know We Are Change and Luke Rudowski from We Are Change and Jeff Renerick, I think it's called, from Dollar Vigilante, went down there, too, and they had a real good interview with these folks. Narco government included a wide variety of characters, including cartel thugs or sicarios, working alongside illegal loggers who conspired to ravage terran forests and anyone who got in their way. Sharon lost over 50 community members between 2007 and 2011. Many of those simply disappeared and never be seen again. When the Sharon rose up, the local mayor and his cabinet and all local police fled the community and left community members to fend for themselves. What a bunch of wussies. I love it. This and many other details that will come to light during the first months of the uprising expose the collusion of local politicians and the police with organized crime and their very violent and illicit logging activity. Once the corrupt police and politicians left the community, collected their weapons, vehicles, and uniforms, and established their own Guardana Comunitaria, or community guard. When the uprising first began, you might see elderly women with sticks defending the community. These days, a community guard is mostly young men and women with professional weapons. 7 years later, the Sharon had the lowest levels of violence in all of Mexico. Quite an accomplishment while living in the violent state of Michoacan. Sharon's main achievement has been peace. It has the lowest homicide rate in all of Michoacan and maybe all of Mexico outside of the southeastern state of Yucatan. Benjamin Fernandez, a sociologist of the Center of Research and Higher Studies and Social Anthropology, CISAS, told The Guardian, "The only thing the parties have done is divide us," said Salvador Caja. Sharon's communal lands commissioners not just here in the entire country. Shortly after the uprising, all cell phone, television, and radio service were reportedly shut off, disconnecting the people from the rest of the world. And in this space, the people of Sharon came together to organize nightly fogatas or campfire barricades, which became the central meeting points for organizing. During this process, the community came to a consensus and agreed to return their traditional form of self-governance using a collective decision-making process that continues today. The fogatas met every night during the uprising, TV Sharon reported. Each fogata would send proposals and a representative to neighborhood assemblies and then to community assemblies. The fogata element of the communal government in Sharon was the only new element. The neighborhood assemblies and the larger general assembly are examples of the traditional form of self-governance that were practiced in Sharon 4 years earlier. However, over time, political parties and external forms of governance were forced on the people. While the community guards is by no means a perfect institution, it does offer benefits to the locals that were not available under the police or cartels. Local business owners are no longer forced to pay several $100s a month to criminals. The community guard is accountable to the town assembly and chosen by the people. This model is closer to traditional indigenous governance system that we are used to seeing in most modern cities. However, offers a window into different possibilities that awaits for those individuals and communities that are willing to take their lives and their governance back into their own hands. When the people are forced to either accept violence or defend their homes, it seems obvious that they will organize and fight. And it originally came from the conscious resistance. And there's a video on here as well, which I talk about Luke Radowski from Real Change and Jeff Resnick from Dollar Vigilante. No cops, no government, just anarchy in Mexico town. And I gotta say, I am very pleased to see this. And this is one people say, nothing you can do about it. You tell it to the folks down there. They took action. Not these little peons that want to call for underdog. It's totally mind control at its finest with the underdog cartoon. You want us to be conditioned to have one man will save the day. Someone breaks into your house, underdog, help me, underdog. I can't wipe my rear end. That's how they want to condition us to be. That's one thing about underdog. You gotta look at the bigger picture, man. Mind control at its finest. All right. So that's one of those areas I am very admired. People can stand for what's right. And another thing too, even George Washington made that statement about political parties in his farewell address. Little history lesson. You know what? Look it up. You'll thank me later. Woo, okay, that is it. Nice. That wasn't that long of a episode, which is cool. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this to social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or maybe something that's interesting, whatever you do, please address your correspondence with decorum. I will leave all my social media information and my email contacts, via Spreaker page. Or that's it. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the maniacal resistance something for the soul can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.